Welcome to John's Tarot. Thank you very much. I hope you're all having a good day, and I hope things have been working out for you in every way. So today I'm going to talk a little bit. I've been talking about a little bit about Carl Jung, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Carl Jung today. On my webpage, I have something. If you go over to the portion on episodes and you scroll down to the bottom, I have a interview with a rabbi. I got it off of YouTube, and the rabbi is very informative. It's worth taking a minute to go out there and take a look. It's free. I'm not asking for any money. John, that's my that's my address. The webpage is johnstarot.net. One word, John's Tarot, johnstarot.net. And then the interview I'm talking about is on the episodes page, and I give a link to that. And scroll down to the bottom, or to the middle of it anyway. The website itself is a work in progress, and you'll see the little interview with the rabbi. And he was very interesting. That's why I put his interview up there. I thought he was so insightful. And he talks about Carl Jung, and he talks about how what Carl Jung, essentially, I'm going to boil it down to it. The interview he did for YouTube is much better. But what he says is people who are having problems with addiction, with alcoholism and addiction, what they are actually looking for is spiritual transformation. What they are actually looking for is that sense of oneness with the whole, that sense of oneness with the universe, that sense of transcendence. You wouldn't think, looking at the tweaker on the street, that what he's looking for is transcendence. But apparently, according to Jung and according to the rabbi, and it makes sense, what these people are looking for is transcendence. And I'm going to talk to you just briefly about a experience I had years ago of transcendence. I had a spiritual awakening. I was up in the High Sierra. I was doing a solo backpacking trip, and I've talked about this experience before. I'll go ahead and explain it to you. And I'm way back in the hills on the other side of I can't remember the range, but it was out of Thousand Islands, not Thousand Island, Thousand Lakes, and you go up over a pass, and I'm back in there by the fourth recess and that area, and Pioneer Basin and that area. I'm back in there all by myself. And the first day was kind of calm, and then the second day I hiked back to Hopkins Lake. It was quite a hike, backpack hike, and I was up there for a couple of days, and I had some noise in my head that finally quieted down, because we're used to a lot of noise. John, you're a good nurse. John, you're a bad nurse. John, you need to do this. John, you need to do that. But when you're out in the wilderness, all that stuff has a chance to calm down, and your nerves are able to relax. But it's a little unnerving, especially when you're by yourself. And so then I hiked back to my base camp, and I woke up one morning, and it was like I had an awakening. And the awakening went something like this. It talked about, and I'm going to describe it from this is my experience. And I brought something back from the experience to share with you. And the experience, it talked about what is really important to me. That I had been involved in a philosophy of materialism, and that I am really affected in this philosophy of materialism by commercial television, specifically by the commercials, where the commercials are telling me, oh, you need to have this girlfriend in order to be happy. You need to have this product in order to be happy. This is the type of life you need in order to be happy. And, my life was never stacking up to what I'm seeing. This really affected me. Maybe it doesn't affect you, or maybe you don't notice it. But this stuff has really been affecting me. And then I saw how I had done something for a friend. My friend has passed away now, and I'll tell the experience. He has passed away now, but his wife had just passed away. She had been on a hospice, and he didn't believe that she was gone. And they wanted me to come over there right away, and I went and took a look at her, and told my friend, yeah, she's passed. And that he believed that. And it helped him make that transition from, the loss of a loved spouse throughout his, she had been a loved partner with him throughout life. And it was very difficult. But the point being, I helped a friend during a dire experience. And though it was a difficult job, I felt good about doing that. I felt good about helping my friend come to terms with what had just happened to him. And then I realized what made me feel good about myself. And what made me feel good about myself was not the philosophy of materialism. It's what I call the philosophy of noble service. That philosophy of noble service where I am of service to those like my friend, or what I do in the hospital, and you've heard me talk about those types of things, where I'm able to help people through difficulties. And noble service is also what I see happening in the 12-step organizations. When you have a sponsor, somebody that you call, this person is being a representative of noble service, of helping you without expectation of fee, without expectation of thanks, without any expectation, just in order to help you. And that is the philosophy I've tried to live my life by, is this philosophy of noble service. And then the terms of in terms of transcendence, what came to me was that my relationship to where I am in the universe, and where that is that the Earth, it was the Gaia principle. I had never heard of the Gaia principle before this. And the Gaia principle goes, I guess, because a fellow named Lovelace has a documented concept of the Gaia principle, is that the Earth is itself an intelligent entity. It has intelligence. Because how could every molecule in my body is from the molecules that come out of this planet. And so I am a part of the planet. I come out of this planet rather than come into it. And how could something of, well, we'll just say moderate intelligence, how can something of moderate intelligence come out of anything that's not intelligent at all? So logically, it occurs to me that the Earth has some level of intelligence. Mother Earth, Gaia, has a bit of intelligence, and that I am a representative of that intelligence. But wait, it goes deeper. So Gaia, Earth, is part of a larger system, that being the solar system. Each planet has its own level of intelligence. The solar system, as a system, has its level of intelligence. And then we have the solar system that's part of a galaxy. This galaxy has a level of intelligence. And then there's the universe, which has its own level of intelligence. And I am tied to all of that, from the universe to the galaxy to the solar system to the planets to Gaia to John. I am a part of that system. I am part of that living intelligence. And if you take a little minute, if you take a little time, you can find where you are in that larger system. And that is my experience of transcendence. And I've held that concept for many years now. And I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. And it seems just to make sense. Now, you may call that universal intelligence God, which is just a fine interpretation for me. You could call it whatever you want. But there's something that seems to be operative in my life that I cannot explain. And that is the explanation I have. And that is my experience of transcendence in the High Sierra. Let's do a little tarot reading on that. How can somebody find transcendence? My ability to read tarot is a gift, an expression of divine love. And I'm here to share it with you in that same spirit. So, how can somebody find that transcendent experience or their place in the universe? Again, tarot is just an opinion. It's not the tell-all. But how can somebody find that their place in the universe? I'll put it that way. How can somebody find their place in the universe, their place in life? I think the first way to do it is to find out who you really are and to go through that process of individuation and to strip away the persona and the false pretenses and to find out who you really are is the first step in all of that. How can you find who your place in the universe? How do you find your place in the universe? And I use tarot as a symbolic method of taking a look at that. How does a person find their place in the universe? One more. Got the deck. First card, the Fool. I don't know how. I have no idea how this stuff comes up. The Fool is a journey. The Fool's journey. You're on the journey of the Fool. How do you find your place in the universe? It's the Fool's journey. You see the Fool. He's there with he has a bag over his shoulder, and he's about to step over a cliff, and he has a white dog at his heels, is barking at him. Be careful! Be careful! Watch! Watch! Be careful! And the Fool's journey is to be out of somebody find. It's a journey. You want to find your place in the universe. You want to have that transcendent experience. It's a journey. I provide some clues to that in my little earlier podcast. I talked about the soul awakening experience. That is one way. I'm sure there are other ways. That is a method of initiation and part of the journey. It's part of my journey. But the how to find out where you fit in the universe is a journey, and you need to be careful on this journey. There's a lot of hucksters out there. There's a lot of frauds out there. There's a lot of people asking for your money. There's a lot of if you just sign up for this class, I will lead you to enlightenment. What I'm offering you is free. I'm not. I don't want anything from you. I just want to see you turn into a better human being. But it is a journey, and the cards offer you the suggestion to be careful on this journey. Not everybody out there you're going to meet along the way is going to be helpful. Be careful. And the second card is the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups has to do with you see a man sitting under a tree. He's got 3 cups in front of him and another cup that is coming from behind him. That usually indicates somebody who is dissatisfied with life, dissatisfied with what you're doing. If you're asking these type of questions, where is my place in the universe? What am I here to do? You are obviously dissatisfied with your current situation, with your current life, with your current understanding, with your current psychological place, with your current maybe spiritual views. They're just not, you're looking at it and go, is that all there is? Is that all there is? But no, there's more. There's a lot more. In the background, you see a hand coming with another cup on this journey of finding out where you fit in the universe. There's more than what you realize, and there's more coming your way if you care to look. And then the third card, how do I find my place in the universe? The Tower. How appropriate is that? I'm afraid I have to tell you the truth. And the truth is,
hey man, am I driving okay?
The truth is you're not driving okay. The truth is, for you to find your place in the universe, there has to be some level of collapse, a collapse of the old identity, a collapse. You would think this would be so simple, a collapse of the old ideas, collapse of your old philosophy, so that so that something new can be built on the foundation. You look at the tower. The tower was built, current identity, your current concepts are built on and this is it, maybe not you individually, but many people, and maybe you identify with this, and you're saying, yeah, it makes sense. Your concepts were built on unfirm ground, and there needs to be a collapse. And the collapse is not that bad. I certainly went through it. I went through that collapse of identity, a collapse of the old family system, a collapse of how I thought the world operated, and a new structure has to be built. And for you to find out where you fit in the universe, that will be part of the process. So I guess you need to be warned because That's the kind of thing that will happen.
The pain.
Yeah, yeah, that's just how that is. It's just part of the process of finding out where you fit. And I'm kind of going through a little bit of that process myself as I'm working through some stuff about retirement and Medicare and things like that. I'm going through a change in life, and my old concepts are going to have to crash too, and new ones are going to have to be built up. So that's just okay. That's just how that's going to have to be. So for today, I'm going to say,
I'd like to play some marbles, and thanks a lot.
it was my pleasure. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I hope you're doing well. If you want to contact me for reading and you need a little help finding out where you are at in the process, I'm open. You can contact me. If you want to do a reading, contact me. We'll do a reading on john@johnstarot.net, or you can find it out there on my webpage, johnstarot.net. So until next time we speak, be careful, be cool, be kind. Remember, find courage, have faith, and I'll talk to you next time. Okay, bye-bye.